Hi guys, it's Laura. I'm the founder of Fashion Illustration Tribe, and I'm here to talk to you today about the importance of model drawing, or what is model drawing, because I think sometimes I'm so passionate about it, and I think sometimes you need to be educated, or like you don't know what you're missing when you don't know what model drawing is all about. So there's like misconceptions about drawing and model drawing and all these things that I'd love to talk about today, to undo a little bit and kind of open your eyes to what this experience can offer you. So I'm a fashion illustrator and designer, and I've been teaching fashion illustration and design at Parsons School of Design for 20 years. And now I've started my own school, Fashion Illustration Tribe, which goes two ways. You can either do all fashion studies or art and illustration studies. And I've been blessed to have the unique experience of having taught every kind of fashion class. I don't teach, I never taught digital at college, but I teach digital now. But I've taught sewing, draping, pattern making in BFA programs, as well as illustration, concept development, and all that stuff. Fabrics, color, gouache, pencil illustration, portfolio, all these things. But okay, just want to let you know who I am in case we haven't met yet. So why model drawing? And here's the thing. Model drawing is basically, to me, that means drawing humans, drawing people. And because it's Fashion Illustration Tribe, we may have some kind of a concept of what fashion model means. And I want to tell you what it means to me. For me, if it's fashion and it's model drawing, that usually just means that the model is standing and that we explore some styles of illustration adopted from some of the great fashion illustrators, as far as line quality, depth, drama, excitement. But it never means that they're super stretched out with extra long legs and necks 2 feet long. I'll never teach that. So we have freedom of expression to express the human form however we want. If we're doing design, then you really do want to keep your illustrations to work with the bodies that you'll be dressing. I'm very passionate about body positivity and designing for us, for ourselves, the beautiful people we know and see every day. It's really, really important to me. But what I want to make clear is that fashion model drawing doesn't mean they have to be extra skinny. These are just old concepts that keep dragging on, or that they have to be extra tall. They can be whatever is relevant and real for you. But what makes it fashion drawing then is that we infuse it with our own style, and that we learn to observe and communicate the details in the clothes. And actually, as I say that, I'm already getting ahead of myself, because in model drawing, the first thing that happens, I've had a lot of beginner students, and I love teaching beginners because there's nothing for them to unlearn. Like, beginners don't tend to be rigid in their beliefs about how they draw. A lot of artists will come in with a very rigid and frightened way of drawing that makes them feel safe, because most of the people I've had in my classes have been traumatized by a teacher, by a friend, by a family member, as well as by themselves, to judge the art that they create. Hi Pedro, hi Peter. And we need to undo that a little bit. And what I see as being my biggest strength, other than my experience, is my personality, because I often get the feedback that I help students feel safe enough and fearless enough to be able to truly take risks, open up, and try new things. So in model drawing, okay, so back to why model drawing and what is model drawing. It's drawing humans. And on the one hand, we could be drawing anything. It could be fruit, it could be furniture, it could be nature, trees. Actually, humans are nature. But we need to draw something to develop as artists. It just so happens that models, or humans, are a particularly fascinating subject. They're complex because there are many moving parts. There's the overall shape and presence of the body, whether it's just straight or whether it's like posed or has a gesture. There are all these different components, like the hands, like the face and hair, maybe including the clothes they're wearing once you're getting to that point. My model drawing classes always start with just the body as a whole, as a whole thing, none of the details, and getting a grip on building a body. In fact, I often say to my new students, we're going to work as if we're working with clay, because I want to get away from the fact that most of us start to approach drawing after a certain age. We start to approach drawing the way we learned writing. We have a sharp pencil, we have a white piece of paper, and we start making lines. So the first thing I do in classes is to undo that by exploring shape before line, exploring solid shapes before thin lines, exploring light and dark, thick and thin, proportion, form. Okay, these are all things that come up. And the point that goes with that is that model drawing also isn't just about model drawing. So whether you're drawing models or fruit or whatever, the fact is that we're in the practice. We're coming to the drawing board and we have some basic art supplies. Even household arts and drawings, writing supplies can become artist tools when we use them in certain ways, when we think of them the way artists think. And you all have that. It's just that our conditioning and our schooling can often keep us with a very narrow vision. So I'm here to offer a safe place where you can expand that vision. And this is based on my personal experience. When I got to fine art school, I had never been someone who could draw. So these are the things that really changed my life and opened my scope for me. So in model drawing, aside from the fact that you start developing this relationship with your eyes and your hand and your mind, and then start involving your heart and your emotion, you get to tell a story about what you see that is half accuracy and half interpretation. This is very exciting. But the other layer that goes on there is, while you're in this practice, you are also exploring the art supplies. So unconsciously, you think you're learning to draw the figure, but you're also learning how much your pencil can do, how much your marker can do, how much your watercolor can do, how dark can it get, how light can it get, how thick can it get, how thin can it get, how controlled can it be, how uncontrolled can it be. These are all the gifts that that experience gives you that are going to give you a voice. It's like a vocabulary. It's like you can't speak a language until you acquire some vocabulary. This is how you get your vocabulary. And while you're having that experience, you're also having an emotional experience as you look at what you do. Sometimes it will be, I don't like what I just did, but it's okay. I still experience that all the time. Or maybe sometimes you're frightened before you start a drawing. It still happens to me. But I've reached a point, if you repeat and engage in this practice regularly, you get to a point where you're not scared anymore, because you know that you can create and toss, create and erase, and you know that as you create more and more drawings, you get into a flow. It's like an artist, like a dancer or a singer warming up before they perform or before they practice. Same thing is true for art. And as you get warmed up, we usually start ice cold, and that's not where our best results go, but somewhere in our session, as it gets deeper, it starts to roll and get much more successful results that you like. And you also find that the more you're in, the more you start to tune out the worries of the day, the more you start to tune out your fears, tune out all kinds of things and get more tuned in to the present moment and what you are creating. So, speaking about the present moment and about fears, okay, in my model drawing courses, all of my courses include model drawing besides pattern making, but in the Model Magic class, something very special is happening in there based on years of teaching live model drawing classes, high dipped, as well as being a student in live model drawing classes, which is dipped in art. This is a good one for you because I know you attend and perform and watch a lot of dance. How can you draw a dancer, right? They move so fast, you cannot capture it. It happens super, super fast. In Model Magic, I created these videos. It took me hours and hours and hours, but I loved doing it because I knew how valuable it would be for me and for my students to have videos of poses. So some of you have just popped on. I'm so glad you're here. Please feel free to say hi or to ask me anything. But what I wanted to say is when we have a live model, this is one of the most powerful things I learned when I very first got to school. We would have long model drawing classes, hours, which gave me the experience of noticing that as time passed, I got better and better and better in a day. You get into a groove, you get into a roll if you keep going. That's what I call the long-term benefit, but there's a short-term benefit, which comes from having short, limited time poses that end. So, first time I felt this experience, my teacher was giving us 30-second poses with a live model. And this model was not standing. In the Model Magic course, all the models are in fact standing, but posing in different rotations. I have videos with several different body types, and these videos are all head to toe, so you can see the whole figure, and all different poses so that you can do the exercises that are in the class while watching the video, and then the pose changes. And then after a certain amount of time, so some of them are 30 seconds long, some are a minute long, some are 2 minutes long. I know that frightens you, but here's the thing. The short poses are not created to make you suffer, to test you, or to make you scared. They're created so that you can capture the essence of the exercise and the essence of what you see before you have time to judge it. Whoa. So this isn't the only way we work, but this is a powerful exercise that I want all of you to experience because it will change you forever. And I'm assuming that if you're on my video, you've probably seen my work on Instagram or on YouTube or whatever. And it's very much about movement, about impulse, about feeling, about emotion. And if you go in the design direction, you still need this because when you get into the flow state with your ideas, they come fast. And if you can't draw them as quickly as you think them, they're gone. I always like to say it's like you're casting a net and you're just catching. There will be 1,000 ideas and you'll catch 20 of them on your paper. So I always trust that what I caught was meant to be. But this is a flow state, and you will come into it and you'll find that it becomes, I don't want to say addictive because that's a negative connotation, but it's going to be a pleasurable, happy, bountiful place to be, because when you're there, you feel the magic, ideas coming to you, and they're not really coming from you. They're actually delighting and surprising you. And so many of us who love fashion, beauty, style, we think that's because it kind of makes us want to buy stuff. But it's even more pleasurable to create things. And you may not even have to sew them all, but just getting engaged in a design process is an amazing meditation and an amazing creative experience. And those journals, you keep them forever. So you can always look back at them and just marvel at what you created while you simply opened yourself up to the possibility. The other thing that I want to say to you, I'll probably wrap up with this because this comes from my experience in live classes teaching model drawing, is that I involve music in those special videos that are in the Model Magic class. So Model Magic is 14 lessons that you can pace however you want, one a month, one a week, one a day for 2 weeks, whatever. But then the videos that come with it are like a tool that you use. So they have the models in different poses, but they also have music. So certainly you can turn the music off. Thank you, Peter. You can always turn the music off, but you can also leave that music on because music will also take you out of time and space somewhere else. And while you're drawing, you will notice that the way you feel in the music affects the way you draw. Some songs will make you feel bolder. Some will feel soft and airy and magical. Some will feel angular. Some will feel soft and fluid. So a mix of the way music makes you feel combined with the way the pose itself makes you feel, combined with how your art supplies feel. These are all the experiences that come together. Please don't hesitate to ask me questions, guys, if you have questions about drawing, about art, because in the end, while you're studying model drawing, you're learning drawing, you're learning art, you're learning your art supplies, you're learning who you are and what your voice is as you watch it unfold on the page. And the more, I always say to my students, there is no lost or wasted time. Every minute that you bring to the drawing board comes back to you in fruit. Not just by those drawings that you complete and keep from there, but the learning, you rack up experience. Experience builds self-confidence, and you have a teacher and peers to get feedback from. This is also powerful. So there's something I wanted to tell you. I don't want to forget it. Give me 1 second. Finding your voice is another deeply satisfying part of this experience. So, in the university, it was all about, we're preparing you for the fashion industry. Yeah, well, fashion industry, come to find out, can also be a place where people who love fashion didn't know that's where they were going to end up. This class is about the things you already knew you loved, regardless of the industry, regardless of career, office. This is about the best part, the creativity, the joy, the mystery, the desire, the beauty. So I love model drawing. It's so expressive. And if you scroll into the last few months of my Laura Volpentesta Instagram, I'll link it below if you're seeing this somewhere else, is just, it brings me so much joy. And it's a lifetime endeavor. So I invite you to come into Model Magic while it's still open. Let's see, we're already in Saturday, so probably gonna close that up Wednesday. I'll probably open it a few times throughout the year, but the reason I do that is so we can get a group who can move to the class. You don't have to move at a certain pace altogether, but having some community in there can be exciting. You don't have to participate in the community, but you can. And that's also where you can reach out to me with your questions or share your work or ask other students questions about their work and have an amazing experience. So I hope this sheds some light on you today on the subject of what's this whole model drawing thing about? Because until you've done it, you wouldn't know. I certainly wouldn't have known that drawing figures would be so powerful. And to this day, it's the heart of my passion. And it's funny, I have a son who sculpts and makes his own movies and characters out of clay, has a very successful YouTube channel and all this stuff. And I noticed in his work too, it's about the expression of figures and faces, right? Like every gesture, every pose, every facial expression says something. If the wind is blowing, it says something. This ability to express is one of the great joys of life. So I hope you enjoyed that. I think I'm going to do another post this week on drawing about tapping. So make sure you subscribe or follow, stay connected, and don't hesitate to ask me questions because I love to hear from you. And it's time to have your model drawing journey. I've prepared this beautiful course for you, so check it out. The link is in my bio here. And if you're seeing this somewhere else, like Facebook or YouTube, I'm going to put it in the caption, all right? Bye. Thanks for joining.